Aether in Wonderland. Written by Fairycrest. Read by Arashi. Aether is looking at the red paint at the hands of the card soldier. It swirls around a beautiful white rose. Are you sure about this? The blonde man asked as he watched the guards hum a tune, focusing on the task at hand. His hands fell towards the paintbrush in his hands as he gently dropped it back down to the puddle of red paint inside a bucket.
"We're sure the Red Queen would prefer his roses red, and so the king specifically told us to keep the roses in the garden red."
The soldier enthusiastically continued his job, leaving Aether in a more confused frenzy. "By painting it?" he asked, sarcastically, a thing he adapted from his sister. The card soldier let out a sheepish grin.
"We weren't supposed to, but we accidentally planted a white rose instead of a red one.
So we decided to paint it instead,"
added the other soldier.
"Vibrant carmine, just like the Red Queen's beautiful eyes."
Aether made no effort to help them. None whatsoever, which was rare, even for Aether himself. He let them figure it out. He just fell down here from a rabbit hole. No way is he going to do a crime to nature by painting a flower red by using, lacquer paint? He never should have followed that damn floating baby. Now, he met a laughing red catboy, a dragon who keeps asking for osmanthus wine, a crazy bard that keeps making hats. What else? A pretty man with an obsessive husband? Archons, everyone here is crazy. The sound of the trumpets interrupted the blonde from his train of thoughts as the three guards were conversing and quivered on the spot.
"Oh no!
They're here! We haven't finished yet!"
Who are they? Just as Aether was to ask, a man with white hair, red-hued eyes, and sun-kissed skin walked in the garden.
"General Sino!
Get ready. The king and queen are coming."
Yes, sir!
As the three scrambled off to hide the evidence of their actions, the general was left with the young blonde in the middle of the painted red orchard. "And who might you be?" the general asked, his authoritarian switching to curiosity with a hint of interrogation. "I am Aether. I am lost, and in need of a way to get back home." "Oh, no!" A different voice was heard, and an ethereal man walked in. His hair, rays of gold, and his carmine eyes shook with sadness upon hearing Aether's situation. Carmine? So this is the Red Queen. Fuck! Why the hell is he so pretty? "Your Highness," the general bowed as a sign of greeting, one which the blonde traveler followed along. "Oh, no! The queen panicked as he brought the two up by gently approaching them.
"Sino, stop being so formal with me! We're childhood friends!"
The general, Sino, could only shake his head in defeat.
"And as for you,"
the queen pointed at the young blonde, his voice lacing in authority, as his face donned a pout.
"just call me Kaveh."
Just as Aether was to call the man in front of him to reject his offer to be informal, a look of horror dawned upon the face of the blonde queen, and he let out a loud shriek.
What is this disaster?"
He screamed at the top of his lungs, causing the general to frown upon seeing the look of distress on their queen's face.
"What's wrong, Kaveh?"
the general asked, and with a gesture of his hand, an amount, enough to create a deck of card soldiers, appeared from the shadows.
"Kaveh."
A voice so stern was heard amongst the now gathered crowds, as the card soldiers part ways to reveal a man clad in red and black, much like the hysterical blonde. The man's teal eyes darted coldly to the people in the garden. Even Aether himself was not spared from that harsh, judging gaze, but his eyes turned soft and loving as they met the queen's carmine ones. "What's wrong?" my heart. Upon seeing the man's appearance, the queen's face turns red in anger, and he points an accusing finger towards the man.
Hey! Was it you?
His voice was shrill from anger, and he was huffing. The silver-haired man didn't say anything, and let the blonde continue despite his accusation.
Did you ask to paint the white roses in the garden red?
The blonde man's gaze fell to the roses.
With paint? Are you insane? Paint! You didn't have to be shy. You should have just turned them into glass or rubies.
The blonde man was fuming, sarcasm lacing in his voice, as he hissed at the man who was now standing a few feet away from him. Come now, wife. I wouldn't be so stupid as to do this now. The man replied, gently, as he trudged closer to the blonde and, smoothly as he could, wrapped his arms around the queen's waist, rubbing circles to ease the man's anger. I just told them to change the roses to red, because winter is coming, and seeing white on white is something you wouldn't like. It wasn't me who painted them with harmful chemicals now, was it? The rubbing must have worked wonders, seeing as the blonde was calm now, and not yelling profanities at his husband. But now he was shaking from anger.
I planted those white roses so we could harvest them together for your birthday in spring.
Now that his anger had died down, it was replaced with immense sadness, and the blonde started bawling his eyes off.
And you changed the color! How can it be silver now before spring? Forget silver! How the hell will these flowers of mine even live coated in lacquer, huh?
The blonde sniffled, his face tightly hidden on the silver man's neck, but his fist was definitely hitting the man lightly on the chest a few times.
You're so mean, Hey!
I'm sorry, my heart. The man, Hey, gently soothed the blonde's back, as he let the man cry on his neck. It was the stupid husband's fault, and the stupider soldiers who didn't listen to my instructions very well. The blonde's face was buried deep in Hei's neck, that he didn't even see his husband's sign at the general, who was still standing beside Aether, and was also extremely upset. Take care of this now. That's what the man's eyes say, as he grazes his cold gaze on everyone, except the now calming blonde. His right hand stopped patting the blonde locks, as he curled his right hand to a fist, raising his thumb, and did a swiping motion on his neck. Or, it's off with all your heads.
Yep, Aether thought with an exhausting sigh. I jinxed myself on that one.
I'll make it up to you, all right? Let's just put diamonds and rubies as roses next time. Yes?
My queen, the flowers can still be fixed, no?
Sino started, as he eyed the quivering blonde.
Let's call my wife to help you. Yeah?
At those words, the blonde swiftly removed his head from Hei's neck, who, as usual, smiled pretentiously at the blonde, as Kaveh smiled brightly at the white-haired general.
Oh, please do get Nari! Please, Sino!
The general's lips form a smile, as he watches the queen turn back to his usual self.
I'll call my wife. You should calm down now, Kaveh.
Kaveh grabbed Aether's hand and apologized for his sudden outburst. I'm the type to let emotions get the best of me, and it oftentimes causes distress in the palace. I'm really sorry. Kaveh's apologies go in and out of Aether's head, as his eyes land behind Kaveh, to Kaveh's husband, who is staring at him menacingly, and with authority, a gaze that says, say anything to offend him.
I dare you. I just want to go home.
The blonde wanderer sighed, but his lips immediately formed a thin line as he realized the words that slipped out of his mouth. Kaveh's eyes looked solemn as he gazed at the young traveler.
Don't worry, I got you.
Upon saying that, the man's carmine hues turned back to his husband, whose menacing glare once again seemed to dissipate quicker than light.
Alhaitham, bring this kid back home. Now!
My heart, You know I can't just do that.
Or you'll be sleeping on the couch.
Like I said, my heart, the kid needs to leave. As soon as possible, too. As he said that, the man he now knows is named Alhaitham snapped his finger. In an instant, a door, similar to the ones Aether walked in, appeared out of thin air.
Safe travels, Aether.
The door opened, and Aether found himself engulfed in a bright light. And he woke up, sleeping under the same tree where he first saw that floating baby, his thoughts going back to the weird couple he just encountered. I'm glad to be home, he chuckled as he stood up and brushed his black pants. He heard his sister's voice calling him from a distance. I hope Kave's garden will be fixed. Back in Wonderland, Kave's eyes lingered at the door as he once again glanced at his husband, his anger once again returning.
I thought we talked about this.
The man, once again, brought the blonde to his arms, his hands gently caressing his back.
You said you wouldn't bring any normal humans here after me. Remember?
I thought you missed your people. You seemed lonely recently, so I thought surprising you with a guest from your world would make you happy. You know exactly what would make me happy, my king, the blonde man said dryly, as the light from his carmine eyes faltered. But it won't make me happy, my heart. A kiss on Kave's temple was placed as the blonde closed his eyes and tightened his hold on his husband's frame.
I don't want to see another young blonde getting lost here in Wonderland ever again. Do you understand that, Hei?
The smile upon Alhaitham's lips widens as he brings Kave's lips to his. Gently. Crystal, my heart. Crystal, my heart. Crystal.